Hi, I am Craig Wescott, and I am co-owner of the Track Family Fun Parks here in Branson, Missouri. Thank you for having me back. It's good to be in this room. Last time I spent too much time in here, we were tormenting the saxophone section, so it's nice to be back in here. I love a good heel flick. Let's just get that out of the way right now. Usually I do this to embarrass my two daughters. 2 times in my life I felt like I wanted to capture this moment. One is when I got my dream car, Sunny. The second is what I'm going to tell you about today. This picture, we didn't do a great job of actually getting my heels together, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you about it. So the Track Family Fun Parks, you guys live here, you've seen it. We've actually been here since 1981. My father started the company. We've got 3 entertainment centers here in Branson. Our feature for the last several years have been these high-rise go-kart tracks. They brought a lot of energy to our parks. Another idea that we've had through the years was actually a Ferris wheel. The beauty of the Ozarks, the energy, the entertainment value of Branson, we just felt like it would be a great thing. Since we're in school today, I'm going to give you a very brief history lesson. So the very first observation wheel was designed and built by actually a bridge builder named George Washington Gale Ferris Jr. We'll go with George Ferris to keep it short. He designed this for the 1893 World's Columbian Expo. This was, what a lot of people don't know, this was actually built to rival the Eiffel Tower that was built 4 years prior. So it was huge, it held 2,000 people, and America wanted to have an answer for the engineering feat of a structure like this. So let's go forward a few years. Another famous Ferris wheel in Chicago is the Navy Pier Ferris wheel. This wheel was actually ridden by 17 million people. It was there for 20 years. It was a part of the skyline. It's an icon in Chicago. Every picture you see of the skyline like this, it's always there. So it's also a movie star. This is actually the Ferris wheel that Ford and Tris climbed up during the Divergent series. It's been the Transformers movie, other movies and TV shows. So we got a little bit of a movie star here. So here's what happened. Chicago decided they were going to buy a new Ferris wheel, much different kind, bigger, higher tech, and they were getting rid of their old one, and we bought it. And it started with an email, October 5th of 2015, and 8 months later, we opened. So to give you some perspective, that arrow normally would be about 3 times as long. Process like this would take a couple of years from start to finish. We had the opportunity of a lifetime, so we were going to do anything we could to make it happen. I'm going to show it to you rather than talk too much about it. This shows the insanity of the last 5 months of this 8-month process. That sound means that the Navy Pier Ferris wheel that has been in Chicago, a part of the skyline for 20 years, is headed to Branson, Missouri.
Driving me insane. I kind of feel like I saw the light. You got me way up 1,000 miles.
We are pumped up and excited.
Right here in this atmosphere, like we're flying.
We're just gonna enjoy this moment for just a second.
We now have 215 pieces of the Ferris wheel in our parking lot.
We're hoping to start assembly sometime in April. So we are 3 weeks from opening and we are super excited. And we're moving right along. It's sat in a very nice looking state and it's nice shiny white for weeks now. This was the day we've been waiting for.
Are your hands shaking? Are your fists breaking? Are you climbing over walls? Are the times changing? Is the voice fading? 'Cause I wanna give it all. I kinda feel like I saw the light. You got me way up 1,000 miles. Can we stay right here in this atmosphere? Or are you afraid to fall? Don't look down. Up this high, we'll never hit the ground. Don't look down. I see that sky, we're gonna reach it now. Do you feel the lightning inside of you? Will you follow through if I fall for you? Don't look down. Up this high, we'll never hit the
So here's the Branson Ferris Wheel by the numbers. It took 26 semis to get it to Branson from Chicago. We had 150 gallons of paint to make it shiny and new. 144,000 new LED lights. The structure weighs 450,000 pounds and it sits on a foundation that has holes as deep as 23 feet deep and this wide, 80,000 pounds of steel, 4 million pounds of concrete, and 6 million pounds of gravel. So this baby isn't going anywhere. So let me tell you what a Ferris wheel taught me about life. Number one is never miss a chance to meet somebody new. So I'm standing here today and we have this Ferris wheel because I got out of my comfort zone at a conference and I went and met a new guy, the guy next to me in the picture named Matt. Didn't know him, but knew he operated a wheel on the coast and just wanted to pick his brain, and we talked and we had a great conversation. Nice to meet you. I don't promise you an iconic Ferris wheel out of every conversation you're ever gonna have, but you never know what kind of connection you're gonna make with people, and I think that's a very important thing. And two is keep up with those relationships. This was back in January. In June, I emailed Matt and I said, hey, there's some good stuff going on at Branson. The vibe is good, there's things happening. I really think we should talk again, and we just kept bottom lining it that a new Ferris wheel, the newer types cost so much money we couldn't make it work financially. So we kept up, and then October 5th, an email that changed my life. He said, hey, I think I got something for you. The Navy Pier Ferris wheel's for sale. It's cost a fraction of the cost. It's in good shape. We were pumped up and excited and we're ready to go and we're doing everything we can quickly, and then we get word 3 weeks later it's sold to a city in Mexico. And we're bummed, we're emotionally in. We were full out in, going down this path. And December 7th, a couple weeks later, we get an email that says, hey, guess what? That deal fell through. You guys can get it if you make a move really quickly. And so that's exactly what we did. The other thing is we had relationships with bankers in town and contractors and people that market Branson and business partners, all these people that made it, it would have been impossible if we didn't have these relationships. 3 is take the leap of faith. And in our case, it is leaps of faith. So basically what we did after that second email is we put down $50,000, which was a lot of money, is a lot of money for our company, that we might not get back if anything fell through. Those things that we didn't have in place yet were approval from a bank, the land that we needed next door, a 50-foot height variance because of the laws of Branson, Navy Pier's blessing, and no guarantee on the timing that we would actually be able to get this ride open and start making revenue on it to help pay it off. So there will be plenty of times in your life you're going to want all the ducks in a row and everything just right. But I can tell you, if you do that all the time, I'm not saying do it every time, but there's certain things you just got to take the leap of faith. And you got to know that, or hope that these things fall into place. And they did for us. New isn't always better. I know you guys, you like all the new gadgets, you like the new phones and all that stuff. And I get it, I can be the same way. I've learned to really appreciate used. I'm a guitar player, and my wife thinks I own too many guitars, but I've learned to appreciate a used guitar more than a new one, because I walk into a pawn shop, it's great, you know, this guitar has a story. This case is beat up, you don't know where it's been, but it's cool, and you're like, I'm gonna go with this. Well, we got a Ferris wheel that had 17 million stories, and we don't know all those stories, but it definitely was something that made it a lot better coming from a used standpoint than new. So all those things that I talked about that we didn't have in place, they all came true. And January 29, 2016, we told our secret to the world. So we basically have everything set up, and we sent out 20,000 emails to press contacts partnering with our CVB all around the country. It included basically a press release that said, hey, Branson is getting this iconic Ferris wheel, and it included this video. Ten minutes later, the Chicago Tribune calls me, one of the biggest news companies in the world, and then the Weather Channel, and Fox News Radio, and 3 NPR radio stations, and travel shows. And that night I read it in the Los Angeles Times all the way to the New York Times. This story became one of the most positive news stories in Branson history from a perspective of free press. You know, the thing about it is that you had 150 in the end, and this wasn't all on that first day, but 150 contacts from all over the country and a little bit the world. If we would have bought a new Ferris wheel or an observation wheel, $10 million to $25 million or more, we paid $4 million, which is a lot of money, and I actually thought it was going to cost $2.5 million when we went into this deal. And I think God was protecting me from chickening out, because I probably would have. So it ended up being $4 million, but we got something because of the connection with Chicago and the fact that it was used that we never would have gotten with something new. Number 5 is do it right the first time. We had a great team. Even though it was quick, we put together this amazing team with international engineers and our local track employees and local contractors, and we did something in a short amount of time that is frankly still a miracle. Like I said, we painted from the time it got there till the time we opened for several months. We had steel strung out everywhere we could, and it was actually, I didn't know that paint could actually cost as much as it cost per gallon, but that's the kind of paint that made this thing shine white. The next thing was the lights. We loved the Old Navy Pier lights, but for many reasons we decided let's make this thing our own. And so we got quotes literally from lighting companies all over the world, the best ones. A guy that performs 2 blocks down the road from us, Michael Haygood, comes to us and, long story short, convinces us he can do something that nobody else can do with the lights on this particular wheel. And he did. This is before. Right here is where we had an old mini golf course, and then here is what it looks like now. As you can see and have seen probably in person, the lights are amazing. But you know what? Why stop there? I think in life, there's always something bigger than you probably even have in your mind, and we did that with our lights. We decided that what we needed to do was take these pretty lights, put it with music. We call it Electrify, a music and light spectacular. It shows every hour on the hour after dark with various kinds of music and that sort of thing. And it literally has become one of the most known in our industry, one of the most well-lit and just the whole package amusement rides in the whole country, which is pretty crazy. Our mission is to create unforgettable moments, and with the Ferris wheel, we've been able to do some really neat ones. We've had 4 weddings on the wheel since we've had it open. We've had engagements, we've had anniversaries, we have had birthdays, we've celebrated special causes, special days, even had an unofficial attempt at the most number of Santas on an amusement ride. And then the one that really made people mad here in St. Louis Cardinals country is when the Cubs got into the World Series for the first time in over 100 years, we wanted to pay tribute to that. And we didn't keep it up for long because it wasn't as good of an idea for everybody else as it was for us. And number 7 is take a breath, celebrate, and reconnect. This picture is from the morning at like 5 in the morning. Nobody had slept for months, but definitely that night we had, and I just sat there and just took it in. Because moments later, we were throwing a huge grand opening party, and we were celebrating, and that was important to do as well. And then I would just say the last piece, and really an important one, and one I learned, is reconnect. If you're doing a big project or whatever, something that's big, you're probably taking time away from your family, your friends, things that you usually do, and it's important, and it may take longer than the project took, but to reconnect with those people, especially that probably helped get you there in the first place. So this pile of steel created some of the best memories of my life, and it created a lot of life lessons, I hope, for me, and I hope for you, and yes, it created a chance to make my deal. I hope you find your Ferris wheel. Thank you very much.